everyone, my name is Allie and welcome to my channel. And because it's the end of 2019, I figured that I would talk about some of the books that I want to read in 2020. So this is a little bit different than the video that I would do about like 2020 releases, which I do want to do that video still, but this is not that video. For this video, I really wanted to talk about the books that have been on my bookshelves, or that are currently on my bookshelves, and that I just haven't gotten to yet. I mean, basically every book on my bookshelves that I haven't gotten to yet are definitely books that I want to read, but I chose 10 books that I'm like, these are definite ones that I'm like, I need to read these in 2020. If I don't read them, then someone yell at me. Also, sorry if I sound a little bit weird. I'm still kind of getting over an illness and it's been a little bit rough, but I am finally kind of on the other side of it, so I'm feeling a lot better, but I might sound a little weird. Okay, so grabbing from the top of my stack, and it's like not in any particular order. The first one is River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy, and I have been wanting to read this book ever since Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte mentioned it in one of her vlogs, and she made it sound so good, and basically like a better version of Throne of Glass, maybe? I mean, I really love Throne of Glass, but I definitely have some issues with it. So I'm always on the lookout for books that are similar to Throne of Glass, but better. And this one seems to be kind of right up that alley. And it just looks really, really good. I don't know, I love the cover of this book, and I love the two girls that are just like facing each other and looking very menacing almost, but like very powerful and beautiful. And I love them. They look like they're challenging each other, which is really cool. So basically it seems like it's about these two sisters who are princesses and they have to fight to the death to claim the throne, which is so cool. I love that premise, and I really love fantasy that's kind of based around royalty. I don't know, I'm just such a sucker for that, and this just sounds like a really, really good book that I'm so excited to get to. The next book is another one I got recently, and that is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. And I'm really excited about this book in particular because it has an asexual main character. And I believe I've only read 2 books with asexual main characters, and I love them both. So this one will be my third, and I'm just so excited about it. And I just love getting to read books with different queer identities, especially ones that are kind of underrepresented. And I'm just so excited about this, like a queer asexual main character in a fantasy book. That's just so exciting because the 2 books that I've read with asexual main characters have both been contemporary, which I love contemporary as well, but fantasy is definitely my favorite genre, and this just seems like so much fun. Also, if I remember correctly, this does say that it has a lot of court intrigue as well, and that's another kind of like buzzword for me within fantasy is court intrigue or like political intrigue or anything like that. So I am just so excited to get to this book. The next one is a big one and also a super, super hyped book, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And I am super nervous about reading this book, mainly because A, it's really hyped, and B, there's just like kind of a lot of mixed reviews about this book. I feel like some people either really love it or they really hate it, and it's just kind of like a whole mixture of different opinions. So I'm very intrigued on what I'm going to think about this book. This book is kind of like a basic, like a mainstay within the dark academia genre, subgenre. So I don't know, I'm nervous, I'm excited. I don't really know what I'm gonna think about this book. I've seen so many people review it on BookTube and everyone has such a different opinion, and I don't really know what to expect from this book. So I'm kind of going into it with 0 expectations, but I'm still kind of excited about it. I don't know, I'm just like, I have some like, I don't know, mixed feelings about reading it, but I am really hoping to like it. The next one is a book that I think is kind of obvious as to why I'm super excited to read it, and that is An Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason by Virginia Boecker. And this is a historical fiction book, I believe, set in the 17th century, so like the 1600s, and it deals with like Queen Elizabeth and William Shakespeare, and I feel like I'm really going to enjoy this book. It's been up on my Shakespeare shelf this entire time, and I've just been like eyeballing it every once in a while, being like, maybe I'll read it, no, never mind, maybe I'll read it, I don't know. So it's just kind of been one I've gone back and forth on, but I definitely want to read it next year. I feel like next year is the time, and I also want to bring back my We Read the Bard book club. So I feel like maybe for one of the months we could all read this book, and I think that'd be kind of fun, and talk about it and converse about our feelings, and I'm just super excited, and I'm really hoping that I love this book because I've heard some pretty good things about it. It's not a very hyped book at all. Everything that I've heard has been like very quiet, but it's been fairly good. So I am intrigued by this book. This next book is one I recently hauled, and that is Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. And I've only read, I think, 2 books from Claudia Gray, and they've both been Star Wars books. So I'm a little nervous to get into her books that are outside of like the Star Wars universe, because when it comes to sci-fi, I'm kind of iffy about it. Sometimes it really works for me, sometimes it really doesn't work for me. So it's just kind of a mixed bag. But Claudia Gray has such beautiful writing, especially in the Star Wars universe. So I'm hoping that it translates really well within like the actual just like normal sci-fi genre. And I've also heard really, really good things about this one, especially from Read with Cindy. She said some really great things about it. And with how much she loves Six of Crows, I definitely trust her judgment. So I'm hoping that I like this book just as much as she did. The next one is another one I bought recently, and that is Damsel by Elana K. Arnold. And I have been thinking about this book literally ever since I got it. And I just feel like I really want to read a fantasy book, especially kind of like a fairy tale-esque sort of fantasy book where tropes are kind of subverted within that genre. And I've just been really, really craving something like that. And I know that Damsel does this. So if it has subverted tropes and it does them well, then I think I'm really gonna enjoy this book. So it seems like it starts off like many fairy tales where the prince goes on this quest to save a princess or this damsel in distress, and when he does, he brings her back to his kingdom, and by that point things are not as they seem, and she's not super into it, it seems like, and I think that's kind of where the tropes start to be subverted, and I'm just super excited to read this book. I haven't really heard anyone talk about it too much, so I don't really know like if people like it or didn't like it, but I'm definitely excited to read this book come 2020. And I think this might be one of the first ones I start. I'm super, super interested in it. The next book is Nocturna by Montayne, and I am so excited to get to this book, mainly because it was on my TBR for this year. I was supposed to read it during the Latinx Book Bingo readathon, and then I didn't end up getting to it because I was in like the biggest slump ever. And I've never really recovered from that slump, unfortunately. I'm really hoping that come 2020, I'll like be out of that slump completely, but you never know. But anyway, Nocturna has been on my TBR for so long. I've been wanting to read it so, so bad because literally everything I've heard about it has been so positive. And so many people I trust on Twitter rave and love this book so much. And I'm just so excited to have like more Latinx fantasy being written and published. And I think I'm really going to enjoy this book. And I don't know, I'm just so excited to get to it and to see what it's all about. And I'm so certain that I'm going to love it. This next book is surprisingly the only Star Wars book on this list, but the second Claudia Gray book. And that is Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. And this is a Star Wars story. I am pretty sure it's about a girl who is part of the rebellion and a boy who is part of either the First Order or I'm not really sure. Oh, okay, I've got it completely wrong. Okay, so it says the reign of the Galactic Empire has reached the outer rim planet of Jelucan, where aristocratic Thane Kyrell and rural villager Sienna Rhee bond over their love of flying. Enrolling at the Imperial Academy is nothing less than a dream come true for both of them. But Thane sours on the dreams when he sees firsthand the horrific tactics the Empire uses to maintain its ironclad rule. Bitter and disillusioned, he joins the fledgling rebellion, putting Sienna in an unbearable position between her loyalty to the Empire and her love for the man she's known since childhood. Now on opposite sides of the war, will these friends turned foes ever find a way to be together, or will duty tear them and the galaxy apart? Wow, okay, this is completely different than I thought it was. I don't know why I thought it was I don't know. I have very strange notions about books that I don't read the summary to, but this sounds amazing. And I do, now that I've read it, I'm like, I think I have actually read this summary before. I just have bad memory retention. So I'm super excited about it. So that's where like the cover kind of makes sense. Like this side is the rebellion, that side's the empire. And so it's kind of like a star-crossed lovers, possibly friends to enemies to lovers, possibly, I don't know. But either way, I'm just so excited to get to this book. I love reading Star Wars books, and I feel like this is going to be another one that I really enjoy. The last two books on this list are both arcs. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Odd and True by Kat Winters. And I've had this arc since I think at the beginning of the semester for the fall semester. One of my friends from my English class actually gave me a bunch of arcs. I think actually both of these arcs she gave me. And I have been meaning to read some of them and I just haven't gotten to them. And this is one of the ones she gave me that I was super interested about. And I'm not really sure what it's about, but it looks very like gothic and Victorian to me, so I think I'm gonna enjoy it. So it looks like it has to do a lot with like magic and ghosts and hauntings, and it just looks super, super intriguing. This was definitely a book I wanted to read during October, like before Halloween or around Halloween. So maybe if I have like the patience, I could keep it for Halloween in 2020, but we'll see how all that goes. It just sounds like a really interesting book. It's not super long and I feel like I'm really going to enjoy it. And like I said, I love historical fiction. So anything historical fiction is like immediately on my list. And the very last book is another historical fiction arc, and that is The Lovely War by Julie Berry. I know that Heather from Aphrodite Reads really, really loves this book. She read it this year and has been raving about it ever since, and it definitely makes me want to read it because I feel like it's gonna be something I really like. It's kind of historical fiction, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with the Greek gods in some way, so I feel like this is gonna be a book that I really, really love. So many good buzzwords for me. And I don't know, this cover is just so beautiful and I keep thinking about it as well. And it just keeps crossing my mind and I've been wanting to read it, I've been dying to read it, and I'm just so excited to have an arc of it and to be able to read this story. I feel like so many people who have read it have been raving about it, and I'm really hoping that I'm one of those people who really enjoys it. Alright, so those were all of the books that I'm hoping to read in 2020 that are from all of my bookshelves. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really, really enjoyed making it. So down below in the comments, let me know some of your books that are on your bookshelves that you plan to read in 2020. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, go ahead and follow my Goodreads, my Instagram, and my Twitter. They are all linked down below. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!